we understand the situation with Rashee Rice, all right? And we know we need a wide receiver, okay? Because we are kind of in limbo with what goes on with Rashee Rice, how long he's going to be out. We don't quite know. But it was good that we got Marquise Brown, got Hollywood Brown here, okay? To me, that was phenomenal. I'm glad we did it because it gave us some cushion. It's like, okay, so we definitely do have a guy, okay, a number one guy that could take the top off the defense. To me, this second pick was, getting a receiver because all the other guys are gone. This guy, to me, man, what I loved about him is he goes up and catches the football, okay? We need a guy to go up and catch the football, all right? He's not really a burner, but he has a high catch radius. He get in and out of break, body the ball up. He's very athletic. I like all his measurables. The things what I've seen on film, like, man, he looks, he could easily be a first round or second round. It's just how deep the wide receiver, draft is, right? We just talked about it. But from a second pick, I think he fits well with what we do. Because we need a guy like this. I like Jaylen Polk from Washington, wide receiver. Okay. I like Jaylen Polk. Man, we know Aduze, we know who he is, right? But this guy right here is without a doubt can definitely be a starter here in the NFL. Okay. Everything about him, the way he likes challenging guys, the way he catches the football, goes up and just goes get it. Somebody said he may have the best hands in the draft as far as wide receivers because there's no ball. You could tell, like, when some balls are just thrown up, he just looks like he's in position to catch the ball anytime it's thrown up in the air. Like, he just knows it's his, right? And it seems like he's getting draped on DBs and whatnot, and he still comes up with the football. He snatches the ball away from guys, okay? And I love his size, okay? He's, 6'1", I think like 209, something like that, somewhere around there, 209, 205. I forgot what they had in the combine. Is, he ran a 4.5, right? He's not a burner. We got a burner. We got somebody to take the top off the defense. That's fine. But we're looking for back shoulder throws. We're looking for dig routes. We're looking for deep balls going up to go catch the football in the end zone and red zone. Throw the ball up. Let this guy go get it, okay? That's what I'm looking for. This is a wide receiver we've been needing for the Chiefs, okay? I think we've been asking for a guy to go up and go get the football. So he will be perfect for something like this, especially maybe without Rashee Rice being here for us. That's the reason I like Jaylen Polk.
Yes, 6'1", 203 is what he measured and weighed at the combine.
Love it. Athletic, man. He's athletic. Love everything he does.
It's interesting. We actually, the other day, we brought in our top 30 visit. We not him. It was the other Washington receiver, not Romeo and Duze. Jalen McMillan was the guy.
McMillan, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
people love him too. He's climbing up a lot of boards.
Yeah. I like Polk more than I like McMillan, though. Just for the simple fact of, like I said, his catch radius, the way he goes up and attacks the football, he comes down with everything, man. And you could just tell he is a baller. He's an absolute baller. So
37.5 vertical jump too.
Yeah, 37.5. Yeah, good broad. Shoot, he did. Yeah.
So I see exactly why you did that, and I'm doing something very similar to that. It's funny. If you go to all my mock drafts, I've done all the simulations. I probably took receiver most in the first round. And last week or two, I've been going more tackle in the first round. I've liked the more I've read about a lot of the second round receivers, and it's so deep, right? I'm like, man, do you want to force the next best receiver after that group of the first three, or do you want to just wait on it and get your guy? Move up maybe 5-10 spots if you need to get your guy in the second. I'd rather do that. Kind of like how we did with Rice. We saw our guy in the second, and we tackled it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I chose a guy that he can play anywhere because he might have to be playing Rice's spot for the first 4 to 6 games. And he could play slot. He could play wherever you want him to play. He could do a multitude of things. Not someone I was looking at in the beginning of any mocking or draft prospect watch. But I know they catch a lot of flack. But I listened to the podcast breaking down receivers from the PFF guys, and they were both gushing over this guy and how they came to the decision, which I loved. They were having a hard time saying who the number 4 receiver should be in this draft, because you have the top 3, that's pretty unanimous. And the 4th, they're like, the consensus is Brian Thomas Jr. And the guy was literally like, have some balls. Tell me who your number 4 receiver is. Commit to it. Don't just say the one that's safe. And he came up with the name Jermaine Burton out of Alabama. And he was, and they're gushing, and how they came to that decision was just, it totally sold me. And then I started looking into it more. So he was saying, he's like, our process, we get a lot of flack for, the grading and stuff, but how I watch tape, I watch hours and hours and hours of tape before I even look at grades, before I even look at combine. The first 3 plays I saw, I was like, oh, wow, you have some pop plays that stick out to me. But he's like, it didn't stop. Like, every play this guy made was just like, more and more impressed and more impressed. I didn't see a weakness. He didn't drop a ball last season. He's only dropped, I think, 4 in college. He's like, he said his ball tracking in the air is maybe the best in the draft. And that was just one of the guys. The other guy jumped in too and was like, he doesn't have a weakness. He's like, for the website, I have to come up with weaknesses for these guys just to put on there. I was nitpicking. I was looking for a weakness at some point. And I gave him the weakness of, I think he said, tracking where he is in the field and sideline awareness, because it's a joke. I had to put that because I have to put something. The guy doesn't do anything wrong. One problem with him, and this is something that's going to be interesting for us in this draft period, is that he's got character concerns. I think he hit a teammate or something. He's been known to get into it, like kicking players before. He's got a really bad temper on the field. But they say that part of it is his fiery nature. He's extremely competitive, a willing blocker because of it, because he gets into it. He talks a lot of trash. They say he's one of the biggest trash-talking receivers in the draft, which I personally love. Because look at some of the animal receivers out there. They seek you out, and they know they can beat you, and they'll talk to you before they do it. I personally love that, and I don't like the kicking teammate thing or getting in fighting teammates and stuff. That you can leave that stuff at home. But it's going to be interesting to see if we shy away from character guys, especially character receivers, with what we're dealing with right now. Because in the past, we have not done so. We are open to taking guys that have checkered pasts and think that, they'll be good citizens with our team. And if the Rice thing didn't happen so close to the draft, maybe we wouldn't. But I don't know if that's going to make us change our mind on how we approach players/receivers specifically. But as far as talent, and mind you, they both say they've heard from multiple teams, many teams that have just thrown his name off the board. He is not on their board.
Yeah.
He said, quote, some teams say he's a maniac and I want nothing to do with him. But if you have him on your board and you're going for, and he's not off your board and you're just going for pure skill, he is someone who's considered maybe outside the top 3 receivers in this draft. And you're getting him at a discount because of the issues in the second round.
JD, how does, talking about the character concerns aspect of it, how does this, with the whole Rice stuff going on, does that play a factor in, like, okay, we want to kind of stay away from that, especially maybe not a team thing, but maybe more for the external component of things, like, okay, we want to avoid the media shitstorm that we'll get into by drafting a guy who could potentially have issues based on what he's done in college, just to get away from the media storm. So, look at the Chiefs. They don't care about personalities of guys. They just want to win. They just don't want to deal with that.
No, man, it matters. It matters a whole lot because you want to make sure a guy fits into your culture. All right. And somebody who has short temper. Think about what we're talking about with Kadarius Toney right now. Right. And so if that's going to be something that you don't want to disrupt anything in the room or, your team chemistry for a guy who comes in who is talking noise all the time, that might be good out there against the defense, but you might be at practice and it takes one guy to spoil the entire bunch. It's the same thing like somebody might say about Stephon Diggs is, he's a huge, prima donna and he's a problem guy because he's always, saying this and saying that. Well, teams would just stay away from guys like that because they're cancer. I mean, that's the reality of it. And it's not like the Chiefs need a guy like that. But like Teja is saying, some teams will take a chance on him just because of his ability, and he got great ability. I love Alabama receivers. Okay. We know receivers that come out of Alabama do a pretty good job. I always, they're always going to be talented guys. Okay. The question is going to be, maybe with some might be character issues. And I'm looking at, if Nick Saban couldn't, get this guy's personality, in wraps, shoot, what's going to be in the NFL, right? So he does have a lot of ability. I'm looking at his catches, because he didn't have a whole lot of receptions last year either, because some of that, based off well, shoot, guess what? You're not going to play. I know Nick Saban's not. Guess what? You're going to act like this. You're not going to play. You'll get in some plays, and then come sit down with me. Okay. That guy, if he's going to be like that, sit Burton over on the bench with us. Okay. Until you understand what it means to be a pro, what I'm trying to get you to do, trying to talk in my Nick Saban voice, then you're not going to play for me. You're not going to get the opportunities you think you're going to get. And I'm telling you, man, that goes a long way. When teams come into places, they're talking to Nick Saban and all these other coaches about what type of guy this guy is, what type of character. It matters. If Nick Saban says this guy's a trouble guy, he's a little off of it every once in a while, it can't be no worse guy to be against you than Nick Saban, right? That you've been on the team. If Nick Saban say you're a problem, yeah. Right? So that's the only thing. But yeah, talent-wise, man, he got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of talent, but talent ain't everything, right? We know that. And if teams are trying to invest a whole lot of money into you, these character issues come up, they are not going to do it. They are not going to do it. Some teams will, because they're like, well, we got to win now. We just got to win. Okay?
Well, I will say, though, Kelsey had a temper issue coming out of Cincinnati.
He did, but he had somebody vouching for him, right? His brother vouched for him. Was like, look, he was an idiot. He did something stupid. So Andy trusted, Jason was going to try to keep him together, right? And when he basically backstabbed Andy, I'll say backstab, but he disappointed Andy. He got his act on together, right? He got himself straight.
He still has a little temper sometimes, though.
Yeah, he does. But we know, yeah, he has a temper, but it took somebody like Jason Kelce to know Andy Reid for Andy to take the chance on him. Sure. If he had Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce wouldn't have been here. He wouldn't have been. And we never know what his career would have been like. Okay, he could have been up there and where they from, Akron or what the
Cleveland.
Shoot, turning cars over or something. I don't know. I have no idea. Right? Just you never know how these things are going to happen. But yeah.
One thing I was going to say, so like I'm looking at the numbers here. So he leaves because he was at Georgia, then he went to Alabama. So I'm looking here. He leaves Georgia after the 21 season to go to Alabama. 21 season was Ladd McConkey's first year there. So is there a story? I mean, obviously everyone's transferring these days, so it's not it's not a big deal when a guy transfers. But for the fact that Ladd McConkey and him are very, very similar, kind of in stature and size, there was there kind of a reason he transferred? Did he know Ladd was going to be their guy, and that's why he left Georgia to go to Bama? And also too, we're talking about character concerns. The last time we kind of dealt with this going into a draft was a couple of years ago. George Pickens. A lot of teams were taking George Pickens off their board because of the character concerns with Pickens. And obviously we've seen some of that come to fruition in Pittsburgh this year. And with the whole, him being pissed off about not getting the ball, with the quarterback situation they had, making some stuff on saying stuff online. So I mean, there is some of that, and we'll see if that changes for Pickens this year in Pittsburgh. But I mean, some of the character concern guys that have come out recently, we have kind of see that stuff continue in the NFL. George Pickens being the latest one, because that was just a couple years ago.
Yeah. So sometimes the writing's on the wall for some guys, and some guys just think that they're going to have a good opportunity at some places. And maybe he thought that at Georgia and going to Alabama, somebody was probably in his ear like, hey, look, they don't really have nobody over there right now. Why don't you head over there to Alabama? And you know they draft receivers. So why don't you go over there and see what's going on? And he could go over there bittered and, you know, and feel the same way. Like, man, I'm not never getting my due. You know, I'm never the guy. That might be maybe some of the chip on his shoulder that he has, right? Some of the attitude that he's got. So, and
maybe that goes hand in hand with the whole veteran receiver we're talking about. Maybe bring another veteran. If we were to get a guy like this, you could have another veteran in the room to kind of, you know, quote unquote babysit, but you know, just kind of get to lay the land to some of these guys, you know, who need that veteran presence.
The thing is, I would say that we have enough veteran leadership to keep guys in check, but I mean,
not in that receiver room.
The thing is, though, I mean, acting up on the field is different than acting up off the field. And what would you be more concerned about? What would you think as a coaching staff and as an organization you could keep in check more? A guy's personality on the field or off of it? I'd say on the field, right? Because you're not going to watch him when he's hanging out in Dallas and drinking at bars and driving Lamborghinis, right? So, but you're going to watch him on the field when he's like trying to like act up. You're going to grab him by the back of his jersey and yank him over and be like, "We don't do this." And if you're getting reamed out by Kelsey, I don't think you are going to do it that much on the field anymore, right? I mean, like, because college is one thing and they'll overlook it for talent, but the NFL don't play. So you do that in the NFL, only so many chances before you're out. You know what I mean? So then that's his livelihood at that point. So I don't know. I mean, this pick was totally based on us not giving a crap about concerns, character concerns.
Sometimes, like I was saying before, is some guys just don't care. You could try to put, even on the field, like, hey man, in the locker room, meeting rooms, like, hey man, like you need to straighten up. If you don't have nobody with them all the time, like Kelsey has to go to his own meeting, tight end meeting. Same thing with Patrick. He's got, quarterbacks, they got to do their own stuff. But having a guy there, and I'm telling you how sometimes this goes, because you have a conversation and your dad leaves the room, he tells you not to do something, right? And y'all brothers, y'all understand how this goes. As soon as the dad leaves, the brother's like, I ain't gonna do what he says. Like, somebody's always the tough guy, right? So hopefully it's the older brother saying, like, look, man, calm down. But then it might just be, some buttholes in there. Hey, man, I ain't gonna do it. And they think it's cute, and everybody follows suit because you got young guys leading young guys, and it's always hard to corral that, the youthful exuberance that they have, that they display. And next thing you know, you hear that they're not doing things at practice and watching film like they should. All these different things that kind of leaked out a little bit that, might have happened some, last year until they started getting it right, coming in early, doing some things different, okay? And it took somebody to say, hey, look, you need to, this is what you're going to do. It ain't no, you're doing this. If you don't do it, then you're going to be replaced, okay? I don't give a damn how much we're paying you. 11 million, 8, 7, we'll give a damn. But you're not going to disrupt what we have over here, okay? For your own little selfish pleasures that you want to do, and everybody hee-haw and kiki and, in the meetings. Yeah. That shit ain't going to happen. It ain't going to fly. That's why everybody was kind of asking for Bieniemy, because they knew Bieniemy was going to call out. He'd come kick the door in, okay? Somebody listen to me, then guess what? Then we might have to square up. We're going to get you up out of here. So, you want to make sure that, you temper that, with veteran guys to kind of speak their language a little bit. Like, hey, man, like, that's silly. Like, well, how come we not coming in early? Like, we should be doing this. If you're a professional, that's what you should do. I had two guys, talking about me. When I came in my rookie year, I came in to start Philly. It was well known. Coach told the veterans, hey, we got to get Jason ready. When he comes in, he's the starter. 10-year vet, 13-year vet. They took me under my wing. They taught me everything I needed to know, how to move in the NFL, how to carry myself. I mean, they took care of me. They ain't let nobody else in the team mess with me or do anything like that. I was their guy, and they made sure they was going to protect me. And if I did anything silly, if I something out, I didn't. Let's just say I had a confidence issue. They check it quick. Hey man, yo, like, come here, Rook. I see these guys today, man. You know what they call me? What's up, Rook? What up, Prop? They call me. Love Jimmy Johnson, Ed West. Shout out to those guys, man. It's my brothers right there.
Awesome. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, regardless, though, I like the position here. I like you guys both going receiver here. I mean, I can be fine with us going receiver in the first round, but obviously BPA, and this is a deep receiver class, so you guys are both taking advantage of the deep receiver class, which I like so far. Curious to hear everybody in the chat what you guys think about the receiver that they both picked, Jaylen Polk, and you got Jermaine Burton here for the round 2. So curious what you guys think so far. Both are mock drafts. We're going to head to the round 3. JD, what you got for us?
So round 3, okay. So I've been listening, and I've just been thinking, right? Same thing. We don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. Okay, we've been talking about Tyler Boyd, this guy here, and this and that, whatever. We're talking about high character guys. Okay, so my thing is this, and actually, Marcus, thank you for actually kind of talking me into thinking about getting more receivers. So my 3rd round pick is actually going to be another receiver. All right, it's going to be another receiver. And the reason I think that is because if you're not thinking about getting Tyler Boyd, who's an older guy, you want to get high character guys that's in here. Okay. Now this guy, we understand, comes from, great stock. Okay. He has a great family. He has a great name. Another Rice. Okay. We had to think about 3rd round pick. No doubt about it. We had to go with our guy, Brenden Rice. Okay. From USC. All right. Now, hey, and the thing is, he just seems like a plus. Just getting him. When they talk about his work ethic, obviously he's going to get that from his dad. He understands what it means to be a pro. He's got probably the best mentor that you could possibly have, and the best wide receiver in the entire game, bar none, without a doubt, ever. That's his dad. Okay, so he understands. Jerry will be in his tail, in his ear every single day. I guarantee Brandon's probably talking to his dad every single day. After practice, when they practice, what y'all look like? Are you working on your stuff? Just to make sure he's right. You could talk about like how he goes in and he blocks DBs. He's blocking the guys. He understands that. I mean, he's been taught by the best. Okay, that's what he's got. He's been taught by the best. And so you bring a guy like this here, he's just going to win. He knows nothing about other than winning, trying to win, trying to be the best, and he's going to work for it all the time. So high character guy, okay? He's one of those like a rookie that will come in. He'll come in, he'll have his notepad and his pencil. He'll ask 20 questions just to make sure he's getting everything right so he understands everything, okay? This is a solid pick because he'll be dependable, okay? He'll be responsible, accountability, okay? And not saying other guys are not on that, but you won't really have any type of character questions with him, okay? So his stock has been rising. He catches the football well, long strider. But like I said, man, he's going to challenge every single DB, every ball coming to him. He's going to try to make the play. You know that. He's going to sell everything out to do it. He's the type of guy that you need on a team like the Chiefs, who already has a winning culture. And you bring a guy like this in, like, hey, man, you are perfect for what we need to do, right? You perfectly need to do. So Brenden Rice, to me, man, he has all the intangibles, all the athletic ability to be a guy that comes in. He could be a starter. He could be, the backup guy. It wouldn't even matter to him. He just wanted to be a part of it, right? That's the type of guy that you need, who wants to be a part of a team. Not an individual, a team, okay? The individual accolades will come.
He'll work his tail off, too.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And I love your 2 picks. You got Polk 6'1", 203, and then Rice here 6'2", 208 at the combine. So I love it, man. And then when Rashee comes back, that's 3 big dudes. And then you got Hollywood and Burner to take the top off the defense. I love that.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And those are the guys I'm saying that we need to kind of get, because you got the speedy, fast guys. You got those guys around you with the offense that you want to be able to run. Okay. Just got the kid from LRZ, right? We got him. You know, he could be running back, wide receiver, whatever. If he could catch the football, because they didn't really drop a whole lot of balls. So, you know, you need guys like that. And so guys like this that you know is going to work hard, it's going to get open. You know, he, like I said, he's learned from the best. Okay, he knows it all. He call out defenses, whatever. He's probably telling Patrick, "Hey, man, look, if you think about it like this, and it's he's like, where you learn that? My dad, like, shit, he's been teaching me since you know, been on the bottle." So,
do you so with this? I know we had a conversation about this last week about bringing in 3 receivers. Do you still think if they do follow this, they go second and third round receiver? Do you think they bring in another veteran, or they kind of leave that room as is?
You could bring in a veteran guy. Now, this is where the veteran guy you would sign maybe for like a 1-year deal, right? You know, we was talking about Tyler Boyd. I was like, I don't think the Chiefs want to do another 1-year deal with a guy. If you get 2 rookies that you're going to have here for a long time, and maybe hopefully Rashee Rice recovers from this, which I think he will, right? You got legitimately 3 guys that are growing together. They're growing like talented guys, okay? And so you bring a Tyler Boyd who could teach them, you know, what they need to do, or maybe somebody else. I don't know who you get. You know, the OBJ been named and thrown around, so different guys. But you can now get that veteran guy on a shorter deal that is not going to cost you a whole lot of money, right? To teach these young guys on what they need to do. But I think they fit right in what the Chiefs are, okay, as an organization. That's what I feel.
I would love this. if these first 2 rounds happen the way you have it, JD. Oh my gosh, not doggone yours, Teja, but I've had an affinity for Brenden Rice. Yeah, I got the US. I got the USC thing in me.
Yeah, no, shoot. 2 rookies like this, maybe a veteran guy. I mean, you got Hollywood Brown. I mean, shoot, you got a nice mix of almost like young receivers like you see up in
Green Bay.
Mm-hmm. You know, jokers, they playing a really good ball right now.
They have the prototype of how to get your not spend high draft capital on not just the first round guys. Well, yeah, I think all their guys are below the first round between Watson, Daubs, and Jaden Reed. So yeah, you're following that model right there. That's a great model to follow. I mean, those guys are all studs. Teja, I know before we get to your pick, thoughts on the back-to-back receiver spot here? Or were you considering that? I know you didn't do that, but were you considering that?
No, probably not. I just think you guys cutting Sky Moore.
Well,
are we keeping like 7 receivers?
We did this past year.
8.
Well, we haven't made a decision on Kadarius Toney yet. We don't know what it's still up in the air. Okay,
that's true.
Right, Rashee Rice, we still don't know anything about. So you get 2 rookies in. You got Hollywood Brown, that's 3. Jaylen Watson, you got Sky Moore, that's 5. And then you bring a veteran, that's 6. And then, we don't know what the other 2 is going to be. You know what I mean? That's the thing about it.
I mean, Rice is not going to be suspended for the entire year. I think at most it'd be 6 games. So
right, but when he comes back, because it's like you got to take a roster spot, who's going to fill that spot in? You got to make sure the guy that
you have half a year. Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah. We have some guys stashed. That's the reason why I just didn't do that. I think if anything, we'll draft one in the first 3 rounds and then like sign a veteran.
That's what I wanted to do initially too, Teja. To me, it made sense to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't hate it. I mean, if that's the way they want to go, I'm like, all right, hey, let's do it, man. Get a bunch of young receivers in here. Yeah, I'm not against it by any means.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.